Grandmaster Nightfalls are finally here, so we're giving you a quick how-to on the first GM, the Lightblade. This Grandmaster isn't super hard by any means, but there are a few tricky spots and things to look out for, so let's get right on into it. For the subclass, I am a Titan main, so I chose to go with the Strand Titan on this one. Now I know Strand isn't a surge for this week, but there are many useful things using Strand for this Grandmaster. Here's the build. I use Tower Barricade for more protection, and I use Shackle Grenade to have more ability to stun and suspend targets. This is huge for this GM. For the aspects, I went with Into the Fray and Dranger's Lash, mainly because this will make our class ability be able to suspend targets, and with Into the Fray, we're now going to be able to give ourselves and teammates Woven Mail. For our fragments, I'm going with Threat of Mind, Warding, Continuity, and Generation. This will give us back class ability energy by killing suspended targets, Woven Mail from picking up orbs, our strand effects will last longer, and damaging targets will give back grenade energy. Obviously, we're pairing this with a Buoyant Leap to make more suspending with Barricade and gain Woven Mail while suspending targets. These are huge since we gain damage resistance and unravel rounds for our strand weapons when we suspend a target. Here are the armor mods I went with. For our helmet, I went with a Strand Siphon since we will be using a Strand Primary. I also chose Heavy Ammo Finder and Heavy Ammo Scout to create more heavy ammo for us and our team. For the arms, I took Heavy Handed, Momentum Transfer, and Focusing Strike. This is all about using our melee to generate more energy for our other abilities. For our chest, I'm taking 2 Arc Resistance and a Concussive Dampener. There are a ton of Boomer Knights, so this will really help us survive. For the legs, I took Better Already, Recuperation, and Absolution, giving us more ability energy for all of our abilities, health back immediately, and start health regen. You could change out Better Already for a Strand Siphon mod, since I don't have anything that uses armor mods. And for the mark, I'm taking Powerful Attraction, Distribution, and Reaper. That way, when you use our class ability, which should be a lot, it will give us ability energy back, collect nearby orbs, which again is giving us more ability energy back, and make our next weapon kill create an orb. As for the artifact, the key mods I like to use are Anti-Barrier Auto Rifle, Strand Authorized mods, Improved Unraveling, Strand Soldier, and Conductive Cosmic Needle. You can also take squad goals, but it's not 100% necessary. If you have an extra spot, go ahead and take it. Mainly, this will help our strand weapons output more damage by giving them unraveling rounds when we gain Woven Mail, and increase the amount of damage dealt by unraveling a target. Plus, if your teammates are running Arc or Void, you'll help them do even more damage by unraveling or suspending targets, which is easy to do with this build. For my weapons, I'm choosing an Auto Rifle, Grenade Launcher, and Machine Gun. For the primary slot, Quicksilver Storm is great for this Grandmaster. No, it's not Strand Surge, but with the ability to create tangles, unravel targets, stun barrier champs, and have free grenade launcher shots, this weapon outputs pretty decent damage. This grenade launcher mode is great for all targets and helps shred mini bosses in this Nightfall. Also remember that anytime you pick up an orb or suspend a target, Quicksilver Storm will be given unraveling rounds, making it do even more damage. You could also choose to use the Wish Ender over Quicksilver Storm, though I like the way the Strand subclass and the artifact helps buff up the Quicksilver Storm even more. There are a lot of Thrall and Exploders in this Grandmaster, so I'm taking the Forbearance to help with ad clear. Any Waveframe grenade launcher will do the job since it is overcharged grenade launchers. Also, blinding grenades might be useful for a few parts of this Grandmaster, so if you want to take a grenade launcher with blinding grenades, then go for it. For my heavy, I chose the Commemoration. I started off with a rocket, but none of the teams that I ran with were using Galley or Aeons, so the ammo economy made more sense to me with a machine gun. Pick any machine gun that's Void or Arc to take advantage of the weapon surge. Now let's jump into some tips or tricks when you're running this Nightfall. For this first area, there's nothing too crazy going on. There are a bunch of ads, so I like to slowly clear them out from distance if I can, and there are 2 barrier knights that you really need to be taking care of. Besides that, there are a few other knights that you can take care of, but just be on the lookout for them so they don't kill you. And play the walls. There's a lot of cover you can use and distance, like angles that you can take on these enemies while at the same time staying safe. So there is a barrier knight that usually spawns right here or over here on the right. I like to use my suspend abilities on him. Potentially you can get him before he jumps back down to the middle. If you don't, sometimes they do like to jump down, both of them over here in this area, and you can just suspend both of them at the same time over there. Again, I'm just taking angles on these enemies, trying to make sure I'm staying safe while also suspending when I can. So right now I'm going to be able to suspend both of these knights at the same time with my Shackle Grenade, which again is pretty huge for this build. Also, don't be like my teammates in this time. I've been over here fighting this guy by myself. You should be able to try to focus on these barrier knights, take them down quickly. I finally have a teammate arrive as I'm about to kill him myself. I like to focus on these barrier champs as quick as I can. You can focus on the boss to get the boss out of the area, but if you don't have Wish Ender, there's no point. So if you are running Quicksilver Storm, pretty much just focus on the knights and the barrier knights first and clear out any acolytes if they are getting in your way. Again, there's little angles you can take. Like I'm trying to use this column right here to my left. I'm using that as cover, so if the boss does start shooting me, I have clear cover that I can stay safe. Once you hurt the boss enough, he will disappear, so just do as much damage as you can and move on to the next section. For this section, there are 3 enemies that spawn right here. There's the wizard and 2 acolytes. Same thing on the little level right below it. I like to use the suspend sometimes to make sure that we can get in there easily. You don't have to, or you can save your suspend for this part where there are some. I don't know how my shackle doesn't suspend the wizard right here as well, but I like to make sure these enemies are fully clear so we have both balconies to use. And on the top right over here and on the top left side over there, you will see both the boss, the mini boss, the Hive Knight that can use his super, so watch out for him. And you will have a Barrier Knight sometimes down here in the middle, sometimes over here on the left. There will be 2 of those Barrier Knights. So I like to play angles, try to take out at least one of those, and then we want to actually take out the other Hive Knight, this guy that now moved over here, the one that can use his super. We want to take him out next, because if you take out both of these Barrier Knights that were down in the middle, then you're going to spawn another one of those Hive Knights that can do their super, and their super is very potent. It can one-shot you, so it is good to take out both when you can. As you see, now we have the next wave of enemies coming. There are 2 light blades, these little knights that are running at me, the light blades discipline. I like to suspend these guys so that they're not consequential anymore. Makes them really easy to deal with. I wasn't aware of this at the time, but because we had killed both of those Barrier Knights, we do have 2 roaming light bearing knights right now. So I'm trying to take out these disciplines so that they're no longer a problem, and I realized that I do have a Lightblades warrior over here. Needless to say, both of my teammates had died, so I'm doing my best that I can to take out these guys as quick as possible so I can stay a little bit safer. I didn't realize, always remember to get that little ghost. I don't know if you saw it, but that little ghost, I forgot to finish him because I was so worried about getting my team up that he does end up coming back. So always remember to finish. Again, trying to take cover up here. We can use these pillars to kind of hide from their shields. So I'm trying to stay away from this guy that's down in the middle. I know that guy is now back up. That's the one that I didn't finish. So my teammates are trying to take care of him, trying to reach over, help him out a little bit. I like to use, once you clear out at least one of these guys, I like to stay in this area over here to try to take a little bit of cover, which is why I'm trying to poke him down a little bit, potentially have my teammate go and finish him off, which is what I think happens right here. When you see this little thing right here, and it's not the sword, you cannot suspend these guys. So just keep in mind that I tried that right there just to see. I do get unraveling rounds, so it is good to have, but just keep that in mind that you can't suspend these knights, but there is one other, I believe, Lightblades warrior that you can suspend later on. Supers are pretty useful in this room, so use them when you can. I like to use them on these guys. If you have a group of enemies like the other 2 Lightblades, I like to use them on those as well. So coming up on this area, you do have 2 separate sections. You have one section up here and one section up here. Both of those sections will have a Barrier Knight. Again, we can easily just suspend these targets and they're non-consequential to us. So that's what I do here. We do the same thing with the other Barrier Knight. Nothing really crazy going on here. All right, moving on to this part, I do like to try to poke some of these guys off so that they're not harming us at the time. It is pretty helpful. If you have teammates doing the same, then you can clear them out fairly easily. So I get to here and I realize that there is a Shrieker up here. So I should have started taking out these guys a little bit more. And once I heard the Shrieker pop, pull out my heavy and start doing it. But I'm trying to be a little preemptive. I did it a little bit too early, but usually when you're about at this point with the boat, that's when the Shrieker will open up. So just be wary of this guy up here. They are very powerful and can get pretty close to killing you pretty quickly. So I'm waiting for him to open up. I should have saved my shackle grenade. You can also shackle these guys. They just open up and stand there and you can easily shoot them in their crit. They're not harming you. It's very easy. So when we get here, there are 2 separate areas we can go. We can go up this left side or up this right side. Both sides are going to need to be done, so it doesn't really matter which side you go. I end up going, I believe, solo on my left, and my 2 teammates go on the right side. Up top, like way up here, there's going to be a knight that you have to kill. So just be wary of that. Don't over peek if you don't have your shackle grenade or any ways to suspend them, but I do like to suspend them when I can. So I take this top left side by myself, and when we do get here, as you can see, this guy is actually the sword. So these ones you can actually suspend, and that's super good because you see him pop his super right here and he still can one-shot us. So we have to be very wary of this guy when he's in his super, but because we have our shackle grenade or our class ability ready to go, I'm going to go ahead, suspend him. It takes him completely out of his super, and now I can have free reign on him. My teammates are over there on the right side fighting by themselves, and again, I'm using my suspend to be able to finish this guy off, not really worrying about any of the enemies. Boom. Makes this part super easy when you suspend them. So just keep in mind, if you do see the sword, go ahead and use your suspend on them. All right, let's move on to the next part. All right, so when you do get here, there is a wizard as well as these acolytes on this bridge, the next bridge, and I believe the last bridge. So be wary of that. You can jump off here if you'd like. That's what I'm doing in this clip. Or you can just wait and jump off the next one. I did it here so I could get a better angle on this. As you see, our teammate waits a little bit. We're able to take out the Shrieker, and then he jumps off as well. But make sure you jump off in this area, because when you do jump off, you're able to take this at your own pace. There are small ads trying to shoot you the entire time. This will give you a little bit more protection, be able to stay behind cover if you need to, and take out these wizards as well as the Shrieker behind cover and not worrying about dying. So as we slowly move up, as we can see, the Shrieker opens up right there. I throw this at my feet to get a little bit of health and woven mail to have that extra damage resist. It wasn't super necessary, but it is a helpful tip that if you do have a tangle, throw it at your feet or a teammate's feet to give them or you woven mail and a little bit of health with each of those pulses. As you can see, we do now have the portal open, so we do want to, clear out these enemies and then go ahead and go through the portal. So we go through the portal, and now when you get here, I didn't realize this until halfway through this point. This is a great spot to sit to stay safe and try to shoot enemies. There's actually a better spot. You see my teammate jump up right now. He goes up to the better spot, and I'll show you that in a second when I jump up, because I realized that he went up there. So I see him shooting down, and I'm like, wait, where is this guy? So you can actually, the thralls jump out from a different point. I don't believe they spawn right where we are. They jump out from above, as you see right now. So I realized there's a spot up there, and I jump up. This little ledge right here is awesome. Just be wary that door. Stay to the left or right of it so the thrall don't jump out and accidentally push you off or something. But you can stay up here and shoot all the enemies. Easy angles. Makes this part super easy. So as you can see at this part right here, this is a key for the rest of this entire run. There usually be a group of screebs that spawn here and here, both on the left and the right side. They do that throughout the entire time. Whenever you hear spawns, there's 2 spawns, 4 screeb, and then usually this guy right here, I forget what he's called, but there's one of them. Be wary of this spawn of 4 that keeps happening on both sides of you. It usually happens either right in front of you or usually behind you. Be sure to take them out and then continue through these portals until you see the next well that you can go through. Side note, you can suspend the screeb, so suspending them then makes them basically irrelevant. Just another way that using Strand is so useful for this Nightfall. Forbearance is amazing for this part. There's a few times that I end up looking back, turning around, killing a group of screeb. So there is one thing to note. It did happen to me one time. I had a teammate that did leave us in the dust, and these little wells right here, when you stand by them, you lose your weight of darkness. So me and my teammate were walking up. Our other teammate was, let's say, way up here by himself. He had activated this a few seconds ago, and I didn't realize this, but these little lamps right here can actually blow you up. So when you see them starting to go red, try to stay away. So this is actually a good spot to show it. There are actually 3 moths that spawn in numerous areas around this part. Usually it's around these lamps, so just be on the lookout for that. But you can see one right here, and I believe there's one right here we'll be able to see. Try to shoot them. Make sure you have a weapon out. In this case, you can use the machine gun if you accidentally load your grenade launcher or something into your Quicksilver Storm. But make sure you try to take these out, because these guys can basically one-shot you. And I had one time where me and my teammates were literally just going and we didn't hear the sound effect, and one of those came up and killed all of us, and we had to completely start over. So be on the lookout for moths. Try to kill them as much as you can. So I do notice, I have played the strike a few times, so I can kind of tell what area I'm in. I do notice that this is basically the end. I notice this is the last lamp right about here, and I'm checking to make sure there's no screeb close to me. And then I basically start to book it for the end so that I can start despawning all the ads. Once you hit this point, like right up here, then all the ads are going to despawn. So it is super useful that if you can just get there and your teammates are lagging behind, you can despawn all the ads. Weight of Darkness is gone. Super helpful. You should be on the lookout right here and here. There are 2 moths. I completely forgot about that when I was doing this. And as you can see, I have my grenades loaded. I should have unloaded my grenades or pulled out my machine gun to be able to kill them. Just be wary of that. And then also right here, as you can see, there's Unstoppable. So we can use our shackle grenade or something like that to be able to suspend him and, take care of him. So as you can see right here, I'm actually trying to shoot at this moth, and then there's another one. I believe it's somewhere up in this area. There are 2 moths. Make sure you kill these. I had another run. This is one of the runs where this moth actually didn't give me any sort of audio cue. So all of my team were literally right here, and we ended up getting wiped by that one moth because there was no audio cue, and I didn't have the symbol. Maybe one of my teammates was the one to actually trigger him, but you know, he came down, swooped down, killed us, and that was that. So we had to restart. So just be sure to make sure to shoot this moth and then this moth wherever they are. There's 2 in this area. Be sure to shoot both of them and then take out these ads. All right, so when we do get up to this point, there are a few things to note. There is 2 separate ogres. So we have this big guy and this big guy, both bosses. We have the big boss over here. We have a knight roaming around, and then we do have one unstop. I believe he's over here somewhere. So just be aware of that. These guys, and the unstop can absolutely melt you. This is sword guy, so we don't have to worry about him. So what I like to do is stay up on this ledge, or there's a little ledge like just over this little cliff right here. That you can hop down onto if you need to. I like to shoot my grenades, try to hit these guys since I do get the free grenades with Quicksilver Storm. So pretty easy. Just try to slowly clear them out. There's a bunch of ads that end up spawning way over here. It's a bunch of Screeb and stuff like that. So you can slowly take them out as well to maybe clear up this space and start playing behind cover right here. And that's what I end up doing. So we'll see that. As you can see, these are where all the ads start spawning over here on the right. Bunch of Screeb and a few of these Ravengers. So just be wary of that. When the ogres are this far away, you can shoot them from over here and they're not really going to do anything to you. When they do start moving up a little bit, you do have to be wary. So we do have the unstop moving up, and I noticed that he can obviously shoot us from this angle. So use your shackle grenade to be able to stun him and do some damage from a distance. They're not too crazy to take out. They can't heal or anything. So, you know, just do what you can to take them out. I see this guy starting to move up and I'm starting to get a little bit wary. So I end up pushing back because I know that unstop, and then this guy's also shooting at my teammate. So just be a little bit wary of that. So now that we've cleared out basically everything, I would feel comfortable moving down at this point. We can use either one of these covers right here or right here as cover away from this guy, as well as this guy. And then there's 2 Shriekers right here, as we can see. So I like to hide behind these, take out this guy right here, and then slowly but surely we're going to take out him and him. Again, using our shackle grenades to stun them if we can. It is a little bit far, so making that throw is a little bit hard, but if you can hit it, it's amazing. And then this guy will obviously do a ton of damage, so just try to hide behind cover. I believe if you do enough damage, again, he leaves, so that is something to note. So like I said, we don't have that many ads here, so I feel comfortable moving up, trying to do a little poke damage on this guy, doing a little bit more damage now that I'm a little bit closer. You don't have to, you can stay up there, it's totally up to you. So we do still have one more knight, so again, using something like Forbearance or something else that is arc, taking out those shields is pretty critical. We did get that knight a little bit weak, so just try to be wary that sometimes with these knights, they do have a pretty easy way to finish them. So as we can see right now, he's already finishable, and you know, he has almost half of his health. So if you are by yourself and he's charging you, go ahead, just finish him off. If they're about half health, usually you can do it. As you can see, we hit our shackle grenade. Our teammate easily kills him, and we do a little bit of damage to the boss, and then he's gone as well. And then it's up to the final boss room after we take out this last Shrieker. So when you do get to this part, make sure not to jump down right away. Our teammate thankfully waited for us, and our other teammate was even further behind than I was. If you do jump down, it spawns the boss, and then it'll make things a little bit hectic at first. So wait for your teammates, and then I'll jump down together. So when we first jump down, we're just going to go ahead, get onto one of the balconies. There are a bunch of Cursed Thrall that spawn underneath, so we're trying to stay up on these balconies as much as we can. The only spots this boss can actually come up and get you are this platform, and this platform. There are 2 tiny little platforms like this on both of these sides that he could actually jump up on, but it's any of these little balconies that he's actually allowed to jump up on. Any of these holes, you're free range, like here, you're free range in those areas. So what I like to do is kind of hover by one of these so that he jumps up here, and then use these holes, or even stand on this platform and then go across around this side, not this way, but around that way, to go and jump through into this hole right here. It's very useful against this boss since he does like to move around a lot. You can kind of kite him back and forth, and his arc does do a lot of damage, so just be a little bit wary of that. Try to keep a move on. At certain health gates, there are ads that spawn, and since we did just start, there are some thralls, so make sure to wipe them out pretty quick, and then you can start focusing on the boss. This is where Quicksilver Storm is pretty useful. Since we do get those free grenades, I'm not worried about having to spend heavy or anything like that, since I have decent damage with those grenades. They're doing 33k per. So I do like to just, you know, prep a few grenades and then just start spamming him with a few grenades. If you can also use your shackle or your suspend abilities to be able to get unraveling rounds and do even more damage to the boss with your Quicksilver Storm. So we're going to slowly start to chip him away, trying to stay away from my teammates here. That way, you know, in case the boss comes running up on us, we don't all get slammed and die at the same time. But I always try to be the one that stays farthest away from them. So I know if they die, I can go and pick them up. So I believe it was at, you can kind of see it behind here. You can see that he's just past the halfway point. I believe that's when these thrall came out, was that little halfway point in this first bar. So just be note that this first part, thrall, middle part, thrall, and then when we get here, there's a ton of enemies that end up spawning. So as you can see, we just hit that first third, boss goes back to the middle, and then we have 3 enemies that spawn. So the boss goes back to the middle, we actually have 3 enemies that spawn. We have the light-bearing knight, and then the 2 disciples. Again, notice this guy is an actual sword, so these 2 guys right here, we can actually suspend, and that's what we're gonna do. I just threw my shackle grenade. It's gonna suspend these 2 guys. We can clear out these guys, make them not a threat anymore, and then solo focus on this guy. Since he does hit the hardest, getting these guys out of the way with is super helpful. So as you can see, we use our suspend grenade, suspends them up in the air, makes them very easy to deal with. I'm keeping an eye on him on my right side, trying to stay moving, and we've already taken out one of them, and another one's basically done right now as well. So I heard that he popped his super. My teammates, again, unaware, as you can see, standing right next to each other. This is why you want to stand by yourself on your lonesome and don't be standing next to a teammate. Because once that guy pops his super way over there, he was looking at them because I was hiding behind this cover right here and just immediately threw a shield over there. And those shields, man, they just have some weird targeting that it hits the first guy, goes immediately to the second guy. So be wary whenever they pop their super. Try to stay away from your teammates. If they kill one of you, it's not a big deal as long as you're staying by yourself. So I noticed that. I try to let him run his super out, trying to stay behind cover, and then I'll go pick up my teammates. So I'm using my barricade in case he does throw a shield, and then I notice he's actually not in a super. So I fully pick up this guy, and I'm trying to bait him in, and then I'm leaving. Again, jumping off that platform and going through another hole, it kind of confuses them a little bit. As you can see, he jumped down thinking that I went down to the ground floor. So as we can see, again, this guy is not a sword, so we can't actually suspend him. So just be wary of that. You can use your suspend to get unraveling rounds, but if you suspend him, it's not really going to do anything. So don't expect to take him out of his super by suspending him. As you can see, he doesn't get out of his super when I suspend right there. As you can see in this area, I was actually being a little bit risky. I know that I have one teammate right here, and I know I have another one that's literally right here to my left. I'm trying to play this cover right here because I know this guy's about to keep running this way. I don't know why my teammate doesn't actually like move down, jump down, rotate somewhere else besides directly in front of this guy who can one-shot you. So just be wary that if he is running around, just move. It's not huge. Just run anywhere, jump down to the middle. Watch out, there's cursed thralls. Just jump over them. It's not that bad. Jump around a corner, something. I end up moving up over here because I know that he's moving around this way, and he ends up taking out both of my teammates. So, you know, again, try to stay away from your teammates. So I do probably play this a little bit too close. Since I know both of my teammates are right there, I should probably just move out to this balcony, which is what I do. But I should probably move just even further away because, again, that shield hits both of them. Both of them are now dead. So try to stay away from teammates. I now use the bottom area because I know it'll be furthest away from him and maybe give me a little bit more cover. Again, just jump around the cursed thrall. They're basically non-existent. Just doing a little lap, going to get my teammates when I can. I know now he's probably way back over here to the left, so I'm able to pick up my teammates. Again, popping my cover. I see he's on my left side, quickly getting this teammate and going for the other one. So now we're back to the boss, and as you can see, we had a bunch of ads spawn. Over here on this platform, there was, I believe, 2 barrier knights and a bunch of other acolytes that spawned. So we'll see that. I'm going to go over there and use my super to try to clear them out. That's what I like to do. Take out these middle guys and save my super for this next wave when now we have the boss and those enemies to deal with. Do save your supers for moments like this. So, yep, we can see the 1 barrier knight and a couple acolytes. I popped my super a little bit too early here, but I wanted the woven mail. So he ends up jumping back, which is great for me. I'm starting to take this guy out. Unfortunately, I see the boss jump up, which scares me, so I have to run. I was able to run quick enough, but I wasn't able to take that guy out. I believe my teammates just took out the other barrier knight, so I'm trying to take this guy out while I can. Bam, no more enemies to worry about, and now it's just the boss again. So we did just hit the halfway mark again. So in the middle section, again, the halfway mark, more ads are going to spawn. I believe it's 2 more barriers. Yep. So the same thing, 2 barriers and a bunch of acolytes. Unfortunately, I missed my shackle grenade there, but I do have my barricade to be able to suspend them, make them, you know, not a threat anymore. So we focus all the enemies, and now again, just back to the boss and just doing chip damage until he's down to that 3rd. So he has finally hit that third, and again, same thing. We have 2 knights and the actual super knight that spawns in the middle. So my teammate thankfully has his shackle. We're able to suspend both of them and take them out. I'm going to use my heavy here to try to melt him as quick as possible. And then I believe I'm going to try to use my super on that last final knight. So I hear him pop his super, and I notice my 2 teammates are right next to me, and I'm trying to book it out of here as quick as humanly possible since I saw what happened earlier with my teammates. Because of that, he's not able to hit me with a shield, and he ran straight up on my teammate and was able to kill him, but we don't really care about that too much. You know, we will go and pick him up, but we were able to get out of there, and that's what matters. Trying to keep ourselves as safe as possible. Staying away from this guy is absolutely massive. So he dude has low health here, and I noticed that, so I'm not really too worried. I'm gonna go ahead and get the double finisher on this guy. My teammate's going for the other res. Again, slow chip damage until we get to that halfway point one more time, and I'll probably pop my super there to clear out the barrier knights. So there's actually one other wave that happens pretty quick in, and once I noticed that, I'm trying to take out these barrier knights as quick as possible. I have some weird, you know, I guess I was a little bit too close to that guy because he's lifted up. I don't know why it happened like that, but it's not a big deal. I end up finishing him off. Take out those enemies as quick as possible so that you can just focus on the boss. So I definitely could have been using my heavy throughout this Nightfall a little bit more. We do have one more wave of thralls here, about a third of the last bar left. Easy to take out, nothing too crazy to worry about. But, you know, I could have been using my heavy a little bit more, but I do like to save it as a just in case. You know, if there are barrier knights or anything like that, you can use it to easily wipe them out. You could take something like a rocket launcher, but I believe machine gun's the best. You know, it's just best overall, in my opinion. So just like that, you know, we're able to chip him down and finally finish him off and get our Wendigo GL Adept. So that is the Nightfall weapon for this week. If you do want to grind for that, go ahead. You do get a lot of great things for doing these GMs. So there you have it. Some easy ways to get the Grandmaster done. Nothing too crazy, but there you have it.